guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We're here in Santa Barbara, California for an event with Subaru that a lot of people have been waiting for this vehicle, and I know many of you really have wanted to know more about it. Well, here we are. This is it. This is the all-new 2023 Subaru Solterra. But before we get into this unique Harbor Mist Gray, that's the name of the color, electric, first electric Subaru, let's talk about what's going on here. Subaru, a brand that really built a name for itself all about all-wheel drive supremacy. When you look at the Legacies, when you look at the Imprezas, and everything in between, of course, we can't forget the Outback and the Forester. Now, I mentioned the Forester because guess what? This Solterra, being a compact crossover SUV, basically is around the same size as the Forester, but here are the differences. It's a little bit lower for aerodynamic efficiency. It's actually wider than the Forester, and it's longer than the Forester. One thing is for certain though, with the Solterra, this being that combo deal where Subaru once again is working with Toyota. And remember, I say once again because Toyota and Subaru have worked together with the GR86 and the BRZ. This one is a little bit different. You're gonna actually see some real differences between the bZ4x and the Solterra. So what I wanna do is I wanna find out, with all of Subaru's history of all-wheel drive and all that flat four boxer engine performance, is this Solterra the one to get over the bZ4x? Is it really that different? And in the end, guess what? We're here with the first ever pricing. This is the official pricing just unveiled today, April 25th, while you're watching this video. So let's go ahead, let's dive into our Solterra, this one being the top trim, the touring trim, and see, is it worth the price? And is it better than the bZ4x? Let's find out. Right off the bat, you'll see the style. So when you start at the front of the business, I think there's this combination of flat black cladding and Subaru. And guess what? You're gonna get that. With the front end, you'll notice how that flared fender look, this is all that flat black plastic cladding. When you look at the bZ4x, this is gonna be painted that nice dark metallic gray. Now, one thing that I do like about the front of the vehicle is the massive, absolutely massive corner air curtains, similar to the bZ4x, but like I said, a little bit different in its touches and appearances. As it comes down, you have this nice splitter extension. And what's fascinating is that even though this is a compact crossover SUV, it's got a drag coefficient of a 0.28. Just to put that into perspective for you, that's like Corvette territory from the past when you look at the C4 and the C5 Corvettes, and this is a SUV. Now, as we come across the front, this is where we see more separation from the bZ4X. You'll notice that we have our round LED fog lamps, such a unique touch that has been on many Subarus over the past, and nice to see it on this Solterra. And then of course, across the center, you are gonna have functional grille. This is for the AC and of course the cooling system for the battery pack. I like the way they did this nice silver aluminum trim on the touring setup of the Solterra. And then one of the biggest differences is you have 8.3 inches of ground clearance. That's more than the bZ4X, and it's actually class leading for a BEV in the compact setup. Grille, you're gonna have the Subaru Constellation, that iconic badging. You'll notice a little bit of gloss black around the perimeter, but they really try to keep with that grille setup that you would find, say, on a Forester or an Outback, even though there is no grille here. But I'm glad that they didn't make it look like a super, fake grille to kind of blend it all in, but it really kind of has that style that falls into the rest of Subaru's lineup. Of course, you're going to get a forward-facing camera hidden very, very well with the gloss black, and I really like what they've done with the LED lighting. Of course, you're going to have LED turn signals, daytime running lamps, and LED headlights. The way they extend out with the black trim looks really, really sporty. And then you look at the hood, very, very low, and that's what, if you think about with Subaru over the years with the boxer engines, it's all about low center of gravity. Well, guess what? With this being a battery electric vehicle, that battery is very, very low, all the way in the bottom of the chassis. Clean body lines, nice peaks, go smoothly into our A-pillars, and then you'll notice the gloss black, very similar to the bZ4X. The bZ4X has a little bit more metallic flake to it. I'm actually really digging the Subaru a little bit more right now over the bZ4X while we're at the front. And I think this Harbor Mist color is just stunning. And this color is only available on the higher trims. Now, as we come around the bend, what are we working with wheel and tire setup? So standard is gonna be an 18-inch wheel. On limited and touring, you go up to a 20-inch wheel. Love the machine aluminum, metallic, gray finish. Very, very similar to what you're gonna find on other Subaru products, the Outback, the Forester. And I think one of my favorite parts is the nice metallic silver highlights that are in each of those. But this is a 20-inch wheel. Of course, you got the flat black all the way around with that fender treatment. If you're wondering, well, what's the size of this tire? You're looking at a 235 on the width and a 50 series sidewall. And standard on all Subaru Solterras is all-wheel drive. So we have an electric motor up front, electric motor out back. With the bZ4X, you have more options. You could go single electric motor up front to give you front-wheel drive, or you could go the all-wheel drive route. But because this is a Subaru, and one of the things that makes a Subaru is not only dogs, not only about loving dogs, but it's also about that all-wheel drive. And that's why standard, all trims, all-wheel drive, 2 motors. Coming down the side, very, very tasteful EV badge. This is another thing that you're not gonna see on the bZ4X. On the opposite side is the charging door. And I'll show you that when we do the business ends of things. Obviously, just like the bZ4X, where that charge port is. Gloss black on the mirror caps, a little bit of flat black. You do get 360-degree cameras, which is a nice touch. And then, of course, you could go two-tone. We have the two-tone setup. Gloss black, starts with the A-pillar, runs into the roof, and you're gonna get your nice close roof rails, panoramic sunroof action, and then you can get your crossbars. Now, here's the fun part. When it comes to your roof rack, with this Subaru Solterra, compared to the bZ4X, static weight, you could put up to 700 pounds up top. So what that means is you could get one of those Outlander overlanding pop-up tents, and you could sleep 2 people up there and a dog. While it's in motion, you could put up to 200 pounds up top. And that was something that Subaru really wanted to make it a Subaru, of course. Now, as we continue our way back, I like the way the body lines really flow nicely from the passenger door into the rear. You got color matched door handles. I think one of the things that I personally love, and I know that Lori loves as well, is on this Solterra, you could keylessly get into any door. Whereas with the bZ4X, they don't have that. So you could get to the rear, have all the doors locked, and easily open up the rear instead of having to come over here, you open up this door, and then you could come open up that door. So any of the 5 doors, obviously the 5th door is the one on the hatch. Working our way back, a little bit of gloss black. I wish they would have made this all just glass, but obviously from a structural standpoint, they needed to have this triangular piece in here for the quarter glass and for the side glass, but still looking good. That two-tone, I'm so glad they did not bring the black into the actual paint job on the rear pillar. I like the way they kept the two-tone just up top. You're gonna have, very similar to the bZ4X, the way they did the taillights. Now, we talk about diffusers. A lot of times diffusers could be up top, they could be underneath the vehicle. The way they designed this is actually to smooth the air. Because remember, part of getting that range is to have that airflow go from the front to the back very, very quickly. That's gonna help with the range. But the way that they did the nice boomerang shape is looking great. We come to the rear, and up top, what do we have? We have that split massive rear spoiler. I like the way we got the vortex generators in the center here. And then the air's just gonna coast on down. No need for a wiper, because believe it or not, the wind will keep your rear glass on the hatch clean. You'll notice a nice extended hatch spoiler here. The way they did the lighting, we got our Solterra Touring EV badging. Just enough badging. I'm glad they didn't add anything else. One of the cool things that you're gonna find on your Subaru, of course, is that symmetrical all-wheel drive badge. They really earned that badging in all their vehicles. And then as you work your way all the way to the bottom, you got that really sporty diffuser. And one thing you can't see is there's actually diffusers underneath here as well to clean up the air. So it's about cleaning up the air from underneath the vehicle, and that's why we have the vortex generators up top to clean up the air from over the top of the vehicle. But why don't we go ahead, we're talking about motors here, let's pop the hood and see what's powering our Solterra. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have a prop rod, but you know what? Many of the Subaru products have prop rods, so we're not going to zonk that. What do we have underneath the hood? Now, one thing a lot of people are wondering, why is there no frunk? Subaru thought about that, but if you look at other EVs that have frunks, the vehicle's much longer. And Subaru wanted to make sure that you can off-road with this. Yes, I said those words, off-road with it. And by making the nose longer, that would kill your approach angle. And guess what? We are going to go off-roading in this Solterra. But let's talk about power. So we have our electric motor up front, electric motor out back. What is that giving us? That's giving us 215 horsepower, 249 pound-feet of torque. Now, when it comes to battery, you're looking at a 72.8 kilowatt per hour battery pack. That's going to give us enough oomph to go 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds. Now, you say to yourself, well, Joe, that doesn't sound very quick. Well, guess what? That's about the same 0 to 60 as an Outback XT. Top speed is governed to 110 miles per hour. When we're looking at weight of the vehicle, depending on what trim you go with, and remember, there's 3 trims. You're gonna have, of course, the top trim, which is Touring, you have Limited, and then your entry trim is Premium. Depending on the trim, it could weigh as little as 4,365 pounds. Our Touring trim weighs 4,505 pounds. How about range? Premium, specifically, the entry trim is 228 miles. Limited and Touring, which is ours, remember, has a range of 222 miles. If you want to know, well, what does that mean in MPGs? You're looking at 111 MPGs in our Touring trim on the city. On the highway, it's going to be 93 MPGs. What about charging? If you put it on a DC fast charger, you could get 80% charge in 56 minutes. Level 2 charging is going to be that 9 hours of charging time. And then what are also some of the other components to this? Remember, you're looking at, you have that X mode. And really, they upgraded the X mode. We got regen braking, where you could actually change the amount of regeneration braking. You can't do that in the bZ4X. And like I said, with the bZ4X, it does not come standard with the all-wheel drive. You got to pay extra for that. But with this Solterra, you do get that. But why don't we go ahead, let's turn this on, because remember, it's not about firing it up. There's no fire in the belly of this beast. What there is in the belly of the beast is that nice large battery pack. Let's turn this on and hear what it sounds like, especially with pedestrian warning. Let's go ahead and do it. All right, guys, we're inside the 2023 Subaru Solterra. Like I said, this is the top trim. You have Premium, which is your gateway into the Solterra. Then you have Limited. Then you have Touring, just like any other Subaru model. Now, I know you want to find out, well, what about pricing, Joe? It's April 25th. I've been waiting for this information. You're bringing it first. How much is the price? Well, let's talk about it. So this particular one has an MSRP of around $51,000, this being the top trim. Now, the big separation between the Solterra and the bZ4X when it comes to price is that with the bZ4X, you could actually do just one electric motor. There's 2 different trims, XLE and Limited, and 1 electric motor. So if you're just starting out with a front-wheel drive XLE bZ4X, you're looking at an MSRP of $43,000. Now, this Solterra, starting out, standard all-wheel drive, standard heated seats. That's very, very important for a Subaru because lots of owners like to drive in the colder climates. You are starting at a price of $44,995 So basically $45,000 starting on a Solterra. If you max out a bZ4X, you're looking at around $50,000. And like I said, this one is right around $51,000. Actually, a tick above $51,000. But let's see what you get for the money, which way you would go, and what you think about the cost to the door panels. So very similar to obviously the bZ4X. You do get soft touch material. Really, really like the way the material is nice and soft. I don't dig the amount of gloss black. Way too much gloss black on the door panel. So I am going to zonk that, especially around the switch gear. But I do like the silver, that aluminum silver finish flowing into the armrest with that two-tone, that light gray finish really does help make the door panel pop. Now, door pocket wise, you could easily get a large milk bone in there and a can of kibbles and bits for your furry friend. And we do have the optional Harman Kardon sound system because we are in the touring trim. Now, like the bZ4X, you're gonna get that cloth carpet material. Not my favorite, but it's also not the worst I've ever seen. I do like the way, being an electric vehicle, that hood is very, very low. And I think what you're gonna like is the familiar feeling in any Subaru of having the nice large A-pillars spread apart to give you great visibility. When we get to the infotainment side of things, don't be surprised. It's the same operating system essentially as the Toyota bZ4X. So you're gonna have voice commands. It's got over-the-air updates, which is great. And this is the largest screen ever in a Subaru. 12.3 inches of visual pleasure. And then real briefly, you could go into setting up your personal information, having the different drivers just like a Toyota bZ4X. We could set up our charging schedule exactly the way you want to have it charged, add a time, delete a time, and then even different vehicle alerts, which is great that they'll come up here and give you that information. Then you come right back to home. Let me go ahead and throw it into reverse for you. There's our backup camera. Very, very clear resolution, nice trajectory, and we have the 360 display. You could then, of course, change your angle a little bit with the touch screen, and then you go right back into park. Now, what I love about the Solterra and the bZ4X is that you do get some physical buttons. So we have actual buttons for the volume, toggle switches for your dual climate. Standard, like I said, standard on the Solterra are your 3 stages of heated seats. Our Touring has 3 stages of heated and 3 stages of ventilated seats. So nice to keep you warm, keep you cool. Power on button, easy to get to. A little gloss black heavy. But the great news is that they have those physical buttons again. Now, with the Solterra, this is a button that's specific, drive mode. We do have power and eco. I'll show you that on the business side of things. We got X mode. That is also specific to the Solterra. And you have the ability to set that hill descent control right here where you can bump up the speed, bump down the speed as you're doing your off-roading. We do have one pedal operation, but you still got to step on the brake to come to a complete stop. That rotary style for our gear selection, obviously direct drive, gloss black, and of course we got that storage underneath. Now what you have is a perfect place to put a phone or a picture of you and your best friends from high school so you can remember the good old days, USB-Cs, and a 12 volt. Speaking of the good old days, all of those little knickknacks that you took on those trips with you and your friends, the crazy spring breaks, all the memories, how you saved the Coke bottle to when you went to Cancun and just lived it up, and you saved that Coke bottle cap. You can keep all of those down here, and it's got felt lining, so you don't have to worry about erasing the memories by it sliding around and scratching. Now, one thing that is very interesting, just like on the bZ4X, is you have a see-through cover here. So we have a phone in here. It's not my phone. I don't know whose phone that is, but when you close the lid, you could see if your phone is charging, if you get any alerts. Open it up. We got a USB-A in there. I'm going to close it once again. I actually have official water bottles to show that you could put water here. You got the nice flat, that flat light gray soft material, and then we're going to lift this up. Boom, what do we got? You got some wires you could keep in there. We have the official documents This is all the official documents from Subaru headquarters. Top secret. It actually has it stamped right here. Top secret. So I'm not going to let you see. Do you want to see? Nope, you don't get to see. Put that back. What I will show you, key fob. Little different than your standard Toyota key fob. It looks more like the Toyota bZ4x key fob, because it is basically. But you do have the Subaru badge, and you can, what I like is turn on the AC remotely. Think about it. You're in Florida. 110% humidity, 98 degrees. Your car's been sitting out in the sun at the beach while you've been trying to hook up with some weird girl. You could cool it off. You could cool it off when you come back to your Solterra. That's what Subaru wants you to do, is be cooled off after she gives you a cold shoulder. Seats, I love the color, and this is specific to the Solterra. That bluish gray with the light gray is working for me. Of course, this is that faux leather, so don't worry about calling up PETA. No cows were harmed in this Solterra. Manual controls, though, for the Touring. That's a bit of a zonk. This should be electric in a Touring trim. I get full electric. And then on top of that, what else are we going to get? Of course, we're going to have that split style sunroof, panoramic sunroof, goes all the way back. And then the first time on a Subaru, as I close this up, you're getting the digital rearview mirror. Nice, clear. Look at that. See exactly what you need to all the way around. But I want to show you more. There's more to see. Come over to the business end. I want to show you behind the wheel of Subaru's first EV. All right, guys, behind the wheel, you do get 2 memory seat settings, which are great. And there are those electric assist controls. You just reach down. You could adjust that lower lumbar. Steering wheel is going to be that unique setup, just like the bZ4x. Now, one thing that Subaru promises is they're not going to switch to any kind of steering yoke system. They feel that Subaru owners have no want for that, but you do have all the flat black buttons, which are easy to get to and are going to hide those fingerprints. On the Solterra, you do have paddles. What are the paddles for? No, not simulated gears. It's to adjust the different levels of regen braking, and I like to have that on the Solterra, especially if you don't like that higher setting that kind of really slows you down. You could adjust that, where on the bZ4x, you can't. Now, the dash is going to be the same exact setup as the bZ4x, and I learned something today. This is meant to be more like a head-up display. So, of course, you could scroll through the different information on the left. I hit that drive mode button. That's going to adjust, and it's real simple. All it does is show power right there. You got power mode and eco mode. Power mode you do not have in the bZ4x. And then, of course, we have X mode. Snow, dirt, deep snow, and mud. And then, obviously, it turns everything off so that you could get through whatever the obstacle may be. The most interesting thing, though, is that if you like to have the steering wheel up high, you're not going to be able to see a lot of the magic that's happening there. You're going to have it a little bit lower, right about there for me. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in the back seat and see how much room your passengers are going to have and if they're going to enjoy driving with you in the Solterra. Right, guys, here we are in this Harbor Mist Gray Touring trim of the bZ4x. Like I was saying, this blue-gray finish, very, very unique, and I like it with the light gray. I'm actually digging that, and I'm not a light gray interior kind of guy, but I'm digging it with the blue. Now, the pockets are super large. What's nice is you're going to be able to keep more of those milk bone biscuits for your dog back here. Maybe the brush. Maybe you're even one of those people that bought that brush that you actually hold on to with your mouth, and you could actually, with your cat or your dog, pet the hair, comb the hair, brush the hair with the device in your mouth. Watch it on Shark Tank if you haven't seen that. Very, very interesting. You can keep that back here. I was going to get one for the review, but they were sold out on Amazon, so what can I do? USB-Cs, nicely done. 3 stages of heated seats. You got your AC vents. They're a little bit low. I'm very curious why there's so much dead space here, but you know what? There's a lot of things I'm curious about in life, like how far does space go, and why are we here? But we'll figure that stuff out. Sitting here, 6 feet tall, up front, I had plenty of room. One of the things you're going to love about a BEV, what the hell's a BEV? Battery electric vehicle, is that with the battery nice and low, the floor is basically flat. That frees up so much space. Flat, free. What does that equal? Tons of space. Boom. Nice soft armrest, 2 cup holders, and you could easily put a couple snacks here. I would actually like stack up a Kit Kat, maybe a Twix, and a Snickers. And then you could have your choice while your dog's munching on their milk bones or maybe just licking themselves or something. But that's what a dog does. But you could snack down in the back seat, flip it back. Let's go ahead though. I know a lot of people like to have their pets in the back cargo area as they're driving to their campground or their favorite place in the world. Let's see how much room there is for man's best friend. All right, guys, one of the most important part of any crossover SUV is going to be that cargo area. You hit the button, nice electric assist on the touring trim. What are you greeted to? You're greeted to a ton of room. Now, before I let you come in, I want to just give you a little fun fact. The lower rear bumper, like you saw, is all black plastic. Subaru actually did that on purpose because it's the perfect height for your dog to jump in and out of the back, and they didn't want your dog's claws to mess up that beautiful Harbor Mist gray paint job. So they actually did that on purpose. Coming in, you're gonna notice a nice amount of height. Now, the great news is if you need more height, let's say you have your mountain bike in here or you have an extra large dog carrier, watch this. Alakazam, 1, 2, 3, you just got yourself a little bit more cubic feet worth of room just by lowering the cargo floor. Like I pointed out, we got that Harman Kardon sound system with our thump-a-thump-thump-thump subwoofer in the back. And I like the way that even with the subwoofer, they still give you plenty of room. And if you want more room, you can get more room. And I'm glad that it's just like any other Subaru. You're just gonna lift up and you're gonna push down. Lift up, push down, look at the space that we have. So we started with 30 cubic feet of space. Now we have about 70 cubic feet of space. It's almost totally flat. Remember, those cushions take up some room, almost totally flat. But the great news is, like I said, go ahead, get your Great Dane, get your Greyhound, get whatever you need and put it back here because you have that space. But you know what? It's about that time. If you're ready, I'm ready. Not only are we gonna do some asphalt driving, but we're also gonna go to a special location and do some off-road driving as well. Let's go ahead and go on throttle in the new Solterra. All right, guys, we're in the 2023 Subaru Solterra. We're starting off doing some street driving here in Santa Barbara to really show the characteristics of the vehicle. Of course, we got that awesome digital rear view mirror, and I've learned, I'm surprised it took me this long to understand that that dash is meant to be more like a head-up display. So I have the steering wheel a little bit lower. Feels a little different, but not too crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and hit that drive mode button. That's gonna put on the power mode. And here we go, on throttle. And then we're gonna make a right-hand turn here at this light, and then a quick left as we're navigating the city streets here. But very, very smooth, obviously, with the EV power. And this thing, I'm telling you, has really great feedback at the pedal, especially in power mode. It feels faster than the bZ4x. I'm actually gonna go on throttle. Nobody's behind us. If you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. Sounds a little bit like a Tron cycle, but you know what? It gets the power down, no slip, all grip. And then if you wanna change your power mode and go into eco mode, very, very easy to do. Of course, we're gonna keep it in power. And then I could tap the paddles. And if you notice where the D is for drive and regen braking, now that's full regen braking. If I don't want that, I could go and give it less. So more or less, which is really, really nice. Tells you your range. Just like the bZ4x, everything is well within reach. Here we go. This is my territory. Haha, yeah. Look at this. With the instant torque, it makes it a lot of fun. It really, really does. And I can't wait to see this thing off-road. Yeehaw, here we go. Really, really great suspension action going on. And if you notice, even though it's not smooth, it's very, very quiet in here. Very solid. And I'm digging that. Now, Subaru plans to build 6,500 of these for 2022 as a 2023 model year vehicle. So that is the plan. Of course, it qualifies for the $7,500 rebate, the tax rebate, and then they have worked out a deal with a charging station company and also home installation for a level 2 charger. Well, they'll give you a $400 credit or $400 worth of money to go towards
having your level 2 charger installed in your house. That's another nice caveat of going the Subaru Solterra. This is really showing how the Solterra over the bZ4x definitely has that off-road quality to it that Subaru is known for, and why it has that 8.3 inches of ground clearance and the standard dual motor setup. I'm gonna put in this rut on purpose. Look at that, just soaks it right up, and then we're off and running. But coming around the turn, on throttle, here we go. You can see just how the vehicle gets the power to the ground. All right, guys, one last on throttle, uphill. Here we go. Off-road in action in the Solterra. This really is one capable EV, especially when you think about, like I said, 20-inch wheels with an 8.3-inch lift. Really, really nicely set up. You can see the forward-facing camera as we're creeping towards the top here. Guys, one more big hill here. Look at this. So, I tell you, the X mode is really the magic in this special recipe of the Solterra, because it is allowing me to just sit back and enjoy this drive. All right, guys, here we are using the hill descent control. And what's nice is you could actually adjust the speed. You could go from low to medium to high very easily with the toggle switch. But look at this, I got no feet on either of the pedals, and then I could adjust low or high as we're using the hill descent control. Hi guys, it's been a wonderful adventure here in Santa Barbara and also on that very small Catalina Island. I first of all got to thank the whole Subaru team for inviting Raiti's Rides, which means that you were also invited to be the first to get behind the wheel of this all-new Solterra. Let me know what you think. Has Subaru done enough to make this that go-to for many people's needs when it comes to electrification in a compact crossover with all-wheel drive? And is it the one that you would get over a Toyota bZ4x? Do you feel that there's enough difference? Let me know in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rides family. We got to give it up to the star of the town here in Santa Barbara, Lori, working that camera like a champ. They actually sent us this designation for this parking lot so Lori could work her magic. So show her some love in that comment section. Thank you, Lori, for being the master videographer that you are. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.